Do you believe that love can conquer social barriers? What happens when a prince chooses love over tradition? Let's find out in this intriguing story. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. In the Grand Kingdom of Yoruba, Prince Richard was the pride of his people. Tall, handsome, and intelligent, he was admired by all the young ladies in the kingdom. But Prince Richard was different from most royals. While others spent their time in luxury, he often disguised himself and walked among the common people. He wanted to understand their struggles and live their experiences, even for a short while. One day, while exploring the marketplace, he saw a young girl being shouted at by a wealthy trader. The girl, Mary, was carrying a basket of firewood when she accidentally bumped into the trader's goods, causing them to fall. "You clumsy girl," the trader barked. "Do you know how expensive these items are? You can't pay for them even if you work your whole life." "I'm sorry, sir," Mary said softly, her head bowed. "I didn't mean to. I will work to repay you, please don't punish me." Mary was a slave girl, sold to a cruel master at a young age. She worked tirelessly every day but was never treated with kindness. Prince Richard, still in disguise, felt anger boil in his chest as he watched the scene. "Enough," he said, stepping forward. "How much do her damages cost? I will pay for them." The trader hesitated, staring at the stranger. Can you afford it?" Prince Richard threw a small bag of coins at the trader's feet. "This is more than enough. Leave her alone." Mary looked up, surprised. She had never seen anyone stand up for her before. The trader grumbled and walked away, pocketing the coins. "Thank you, sir," Mary said shyly. "You don't need to thank me," Richard replied, smiling warmly. "What's your name?" "I'm Mary," she said softly. "And where are your parents?" "They're gone," she answered, her voice trembling. "I'm all alone in this world." Richard felt a pang of sorrow for her. Something about her gentle nature and bright eyes touched his heart. He knew he couldn't just walk away and leave her in such a cruel situation. "I'll take you to safety," he said firmly. Mary followed him, unsure of who he was but feeling safe for the first time in years. They walked to the palace gardens, where he revealed his true identity. "I am Prince Richard," he said. Mary gasped and dropped to her knees. "My prince, forgive me. I didn't know." He lifted her gently. "No, Mary. You don't have to bow to me. I brought you here because you deserve a better life." Over the next few months, Prince Richard and Mary spent a lot of time together. He taught her to read and write, something she never dreamed she would learn. He listened to her stories and admired her courage. Slowly, they fell deeply in love. But their love was not without challenges. The palace was filled with whispers about the prince's closeness to a mere slave girl. His mother, Queen Beatrice, was furious when she found out. "Richard," she yelled, "you cannot disgrace this royal family by associating with someone like her." "Mother, Mary is kind, intelligent, and pure-hearted," Richard argued. "I love her, and I want to marry her." The queen was horrified. "You will do no such thing. You are a prince, and your duty is to marry someone of noble blood." Richard refused to back down. He declared his love for Mary publicly and announced that he would marry her. The kingdom erupted in shock. Nobles criticized him, while commoners praised his courage. Despite the backlash, Richard and Mary were married in a simple yet beautiful ceremony. Mary wore a gown sewn by the palace maids, and the villagers cheered for their union. But not everyone was happy. In the shadows, enemies plotted to tear them apart. Someone was determined to ensure that Mary would never truly become part of the royal family. Mary's life changed after the wedding, but not all the changes were good. While Prince Richard adored her, the palace was filled with resentment. Nobles ignored her, and the queen refused to speak to her. Some palace staff whispered behind her back, and Mary often cried at night, wondering if she had made a mistake by agreeing to marry the prince. But Richard always reassured her. "Mary," he said, holding her hands, "you're my wife, my queen in waiting. Don't let their opinions bother you. You belong here." Mary tried her best to adjust. She learned the palace customs and began helping the villagers, earning their love and respect. However, trouble was brewing behind closed doors. Queen Beatrice, furious that Richard had disobeyed her, secretly met with some elders of the kingdom. "This girl is unworthy of the throne," she said coldly. "We must find a way to remove her before she ruins everything." The elders nodded. One of them, Chief Gabriel, who had a daughter he hoped would marry Richard, spoke up. "We could spread a rumor. Something that would turn the people against her." Another elder added, "Or we could accuse her of witchcraft. It will be easy to convince the people." The queen smirked. "Do whatever it takes. She must be gone before the year ends." Soon, strange rumors began to spread throughout the kingdom. Some said Mary had used charms to make the prince fall in love with her. Others claimed she was cursed and brought bad luck wherever she went. Mary, unaware of the rumors, continued her duties as the prince's wife. But one day, as she walked through the market to deliver food to the villagers, she noticed the stares. Women whispered and moved away from her. A child pointed at her and said, "That's the witch." Mary's heart sank. "What's going on?" she asked an elderly woman. The woman shook her head. "The people believe you used black magic to marry the prince." Mary rushed back to the palace in tears. "Richard, they are calling me a witch," she cried. Richard was furious. "This is nonsense," he said. "I'll put an end to this." But before he could act, the elders arrived at the palace with the queen. They demanded that Mary be put on trial. "This girl has brought shame and division to the kingdom," Chief Gabriel said. "The people are unhappy. We must investigate her to see if she's truly innocent." Richard refused. "Mary is my wife and has done nothing wrong." But the elders insisted, and soon, a public trial was arranged. The trial was held in the village square. Hundreds of people gathered to watch. Mary stood before the crowd, trembling but determined to defend herself. "Do you deny using charms or witchcraft to marry the prince?" one elder asked. "I deny it," Mary said firmly. "I have never used witchcraft or any charm. I love the prince, and he loves me for who I am." The crowd murmured, some believing her, others doubtful. The queen, sitting nearby, smirked. Everything was going as planned. Just when it seemed the situation might spiral out of control, a loud voice interrupted. "Stop this nonsense at once." Everyone turned to see an elderly man, bent with age, walking slowly toward the trial. He was dressed in rags but had an air of authority. "It's Baba Ezekiel," someone whispered. Baba Ezekiel was a respected seer known for his wisdom and fairness. "Why are you people so quick to accuse an innocent girl?" he asked. "I have seen the truth in a vision. This girl is pure of heart and has done no wrong." The crowd fell silent. The queen's face darkened with anger, but she said nothing. Baba Ezekiel continued, "The real threat to this kingdom is not Mary but those who are plotting against her. Beware, for their evil plans will bring shame upon us all." His words struck fear into the hearts of the guilty. Chief Gabriel and the other elders exchanged nervous glances. The trial ended with Mary being declared innocent. The crowd cheered for her, and she wept tears of relief. Back at the palace, the queen was furious. "This isn't over," she hissed to Chief Gabriel. But their plotting came to an abrupt end. One night, Baba Ezekiel returned to the palace with evidence of their schemes. Letters and bribes exposed the queen's plans to frame Mary. The king, who had been away during the drama, returned and demanded an explanation. Queen Beatrice was stripped of her royal duties, and the elders involved were banished from the kingdom. With the conspirators gone, Mary and Richard's lives became peaceful. The villagers grew to love Mary, and she became a symbol of hope and humility. Years later, when Richard became king, Mary stood proudly beside him. Together, they ruled the kingdom with kindness and justice. And so, the love story of the prince and the slave girl became a legend in Yoruba, teaching everyone that love and courage could overcome even the strongest barriers.